Hello Sweetwater, this is George Perez, and today I will be reviewing the first portion of the Sermon on the Mount series by Jordan Diaz. I'm going to be discussing the 7 main topics that we have gone over so far, and I'm going to be asking some questions regarding those topics. To start our review, let's recall what we learned about the Beatitudes. Remember that the Sermon on the Mount is not a description on how to become a citizen of the kingdom of God, but it is a description of those who are already citizens of the kingdom of God. In the Beatitudes, Jesus does just that. He lists blessings to the believers and people who are already citizens of the kingdom of God, and in blessing them, he teaches his disciples what the attributes of God are. The first of the 8 Beatitudes is, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of God." Question 1, what does poor in spirit mean? A, sad or depressed, B, spiritually dead, C, humble and peaceful, or D, spiritually bankrupt? The answer is D, spiritually bankrupt. You see, the Christian realizes his desperate need for God, and without God's grace, we would have no chance in entering the kingdom of heaven. This is the first beatitude because when one is poor in spirit, relying on God, God will work in him, and the rest of the attributes and blessings will come with it. Now, after the Beatitudes, Jesus talks about being the salt and the light of the world. The light of the world means standing out in a world of darkness, darkness being evil, and as the light, we are to expose the darkness, we expose evil, and we show the world who God is. Being the salt of the earth, we are to preserve this dying world with the life that we have been given by God. Question 2, what does the analogy salt of the earth compare the earth to? A, sin, B, meat, C, death, or D, sugar? The answer is B, meat. Next, we learn more about Jesus and his fulfillment of the law. Jesus said in verse 18, "For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth have passed away, not the smallest letter nor one stroke of a letter will pass away from the law until all things are accomplished." Christ fulfills the law and the prophets, which is basically New Testament slang for the Old Testament. Question 3, what is the smallest letter in the Hebrew alphabet? A, Beth, B, Kaf, C, Yod, or D, Tittle? The answer is C, Yod. Next, we went over murder. Jesus says that when we are angry at someone, we are as guilty as if we committed murder to that person because we murder them in our hearts. We also went over the cost of sin. Jesus paints the picture that sin is so severe that when we have lustful thoughts, God counts that the same as adultery. And when we are angry, God counts that the same as murder. Jesus is trying to reveal to us the devastating punishment of sin, and he goes as far to say that nothing you have in this world is worth anything if you end up in hell. He wants us to realize that we must address sin harshly because the harsh reality is that the wages for sin is death. Question 4, how does God view divorce? A, he hates it, B, he is okay with it, C, he accepts it, or D, he is neutral? The answer is A, he hates it. Divorce is against God's intention for marriage, and divorce occurs due to a lack of love. You cannot love someone if you have no love, and we only have love because God loved us first. Finally, we discussed the importance of keeping your word. If you promise something to someone, especially God, then you must fulfill that promise. If you cannot fulfill that promise, then you should not make that promise in the first place. Jesus says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. That is it for this Sermon on the Mount review. In summary, we discussed the Beatitudes, salt and light, fulfillment of the law, murder, the cost of sin, divorce, and promises. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe to Luis Truth and Fearless Youth Group. God bless.